experts. Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon and welcome to Ask the Experts, a show where we talk about lawyers,
everything,
doctors,
health,
home improvement.
You trying to top me?
No. So we have it all. We have got we have two incredible lawyers today in the studio, live. This is going to be, I don't know, it's kind of a downer talking about divorce.
We've all been through it. Well, most of us, including myself and you.
I've only been divorced 13 times.
That's it.
Well, that's when I stopped counting. Anyhow,
now, that's funny.
This is going to be a great show. We are going to educate you. And you know what? They can actually watch the show. What do they have to do?
All you have to do is go to WWNN, and on the left-hand side of the homepage is a TV link. Click on there, and voila, there we are. And I'm so excited about today's show because we already have so many emails asking us to do a family law show, especially one for myself. I emailed myself. And we're so excited to be back here at the studio. This is like our home.
It is, I know.
We started out here.
We did.
So that's big for us.
Because it's such a great station.
It really is.
We
And for the next... Do you let me talk?
Talk?
Yes, talk. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to be here with attorney John Elias and attorney Karina Azuramonova. I butchered that name. I knew I was going to butcher the name.
So
pronounce your name. Pronounce your name for us.
Karina Arzumanova.
See,
oh my
I told
God,
you that's what it was.
Next time you were saying it, I was so far. I was so far away. And they'll be on our show once a month to educate you all about family law. And I said you all like I'm from Texas.
I know you. I'm rubbing off on you.
So welcome both John and Karina to the Ask the Experts radio show. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so John, let's start off with you briefly telling everybody about your practice. Tell everybody a little bit about your law practice.
My name is John Elias. I have been practicing family law for over 27 years. I only do family law and family appellate work. Family appellate work is when someone wants to appeal a decision or an order of a judge in a family court case. I handle that portion. I've got two offices, one in Monterey Lakes and my main office in Pembroke Pines. I also will be working with Karina Arzumanova out of the Boca office.
I will never try to pronounce that name again. I'm sorry.
I have to say something about John. When I was waiting to meet him for the first time, I don't know if they were new clients or old clients, but they came out with a smile on their face. I mean, how many people would go to a divorce attorney and come out with a smile on their face?
Maybe he's got good prices.
Maybe he's got good information.
That would be.
I'm sure that's
I don't know
it
if you
also.
remember that day, but this big family came out and they were like happy.
Yeah. And I think that related to an adoption that was very successful.
Okay.
Usually
Oh, so you do adoptions as well?
all gambit to family law. I do divorce work, family appeals, anyone wants appeal, adoptions, child support modifications, alimony modifications, you name it, we do those areas.
We're going to cover every single area.
We are.
And what about...
And Karina, tell us a little bit about yourself and your law practice.
Well, my name is Karina Arzumanova once again. My law practice is here in Boca, not far, 5 minutes from the studio. And I've been practicing immigration law and family law. Family law, John and I have been working on family law cases together for the last 3 years. I speak fluent Russian, English as well, hopefully.
I thought that was like a southern accent, so that's Russian?
Settle down over there. It's Russian.
Okay.
Does she sound like you? No.
I thought so.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, continue on.
So, John and I have been working together for now 2.5 years on not immigration, but family law cases. And it's been great. And it's great being here. Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. So what's the difference between family law versus divorce law? Is it like the same type of thing?
It is divorce law falls under the rubric of family law, but in family law it's much more broad and encompassing. You've got adoption, You have restraining orders. You've got modifications of final divorces, modifications of alimony, modifications of time sharing, i.e. custody. So it's a much more encompassing and broad subject.
Right.
As opposed to divorce is strictly the breakup of a marriage.
So when a person first comes to see you, they want to file divorce.
Correct.
Take us through the steps when someone first comes into the office. I mean, I'm sure they're distraught, they're depressed, whether it's a man or woman.
Most are.
Well, it's a very difficult time.
It is. It's very difficult. You've got to put the client at ease. It's not about the attorney, it's about the client. So when a person comes into my office, first thing is I introduce myself, do a little bit of background on what I do, how long I've been practicing, what I do, what I don't do, and then I let the client tell me what's going on. I usually give my clients anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes just to let me know what's happening, what we can do to help them.
Free initial consultation?
I always do a free initial. And I give them as much time as they need. But I need to know the full
See, I should have gone to him. I could have sat and talked to him for 2 hours and told him all my problems.
I know.
And trust me, there are some clients I've had a few that spent maybe 2-3 hours telling me the whole case.
I'm sure.
Those are ones that I usually take over from another attorney where the case has gotten so complicated and so out of control that we need to take action. I usually will let the client know up front my fees, and I will let them try to get a game plan set up. Here's what we need to do, here's what we don't want to do, and take it from there. But
So if there's children and a lot of assets, it probably is going to take a little bit more longer.
Very long, not very long, but it will take longer, and it depends on the issues relating to the children.
Okay.
Whether one parent is restricting the access and contact to the other parent, what if enough child support is being paid, alimony. It's a myriad of questions that were thrown at me.
So I have a question. Okay. Is there legal separation in the state of Florida?
No. There is no legal separation. It's either you're married or or cohabit, but there is no legal separation.
Because if you separate, then how, if the wife has the children, they don't receive alimony initially?
Okay,
so how does that work?
There is one mechanism which I've used twice in 27 years. It's called a petition for separate maintenance. It's a rare animal. You usually get 1 or 2 filed a year in each county, and that's where a couple wants to separate for whatever reasons, religious or whatever, don't want to get divorced. And then the one spouse will receive alimony, child support, or a combination of both from the other. But they're not divorced. It's just an ongoing order. And at some point, or at any point, either party can move to turn that into full-fledged divorce.
Karina, how do you go about dividing marital assets?
Well, in Florida, we use what we call equitable distribution of assets, and that
men get 70% and women get 30%. That's pretty equitable.
That's usually the case. I hate to say it.
Well, and equitable is the word that kind of presumes that it would be equal. But of course, it is presumed that whatever assets you obtain during the course of marriage would be divided equally. But of course, there's a number of different factors that come into play that might change that. And
how is that determined?
How's that determined? Well, judge will decide on that, and that's where we come in, because judge will be both the finder of law and finder of fact, meaning that there's no jury deciding whether to believe a husband or a wife. So that's where John and I come in, and we have to put together a good case with sufficient evidence and with reasonable explanations and good legal arguments.
Why the wife should get more.
Why the wife should get 70%.
Exactly.
Or the husband.
How do you find the hidden assets, though? That's what I've learned.
Wow, that's a really good question, and that's where we engage all the experts.
Like a forensic attorney.
Yes, like a forensic.
You can't tell I know my stuff.
Yes.
Can't tell I've been through this.
I see that. So that's where we would get help from forensic accountant and other experts that will, sometimes even detectives, that would help us to find those hidden assets.
Detectives. I didn't go that route.
Yes.
That was stupid.
Or you just didn't know.
I'm hiring a detective today.
I don't think there's much to worry about.
I don't think so. So Florida's a no contest state. So explain to people what that means, being a no contest state.
Well, no fault, Renee, means that you can file a divorce for whatever reason you like. You don't like the spouse's color.
That's what I told my ex-wife. It wasn't my fault. It's kind of the same
It's
thing.
never your fault. That's a problem.
There's no impediment to getting a divorce in Florida. Rarely I've had maybe 2 or 3 cases where one spouse doesn't want it. The judge might
Right.
say, they'll try to put a stay on it for a short period of time to let the parties reconcile, but that usually doesn't work.
So what's the time frame usually once you file for a divorce?
Renee, it could take a month if it's an agreement. If there's an agreement,
Right.
or it could take 3 to 4 years depending on the amount of litigation. Right now, I'm involved in one divorce. Actually, it's a post-divorce where I took over a case after an appeal was filed by the former husband. I represent the former wife. She's informed me that the divorce has been over 8 years now.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Because of the amount of assets and alimony issues, so
Wow.
that's not the norm. The norm is about at the most a year if there's a lot of issues, but they can take long.
That's not unusual in South Florida with all the money down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be very time-consuming, money-draining, and emotionally draining.
Yeah.
I have a term that I have no idea what it is.
What?
It's called a dissolution of marriage. What is that?
It's the same thing as a divorce. It's just dissolving the marriage. In Florida, the courts don't use the term divorce. They use dissolution of marriage.
So
Oh, they don't.
What's the is it a longer term or is it same as going through a divorce?
Same thing.
Okay.
It's the same.
Just another terminology.
It's
Fancy term. Yeah.
It's just the terminology used by the courts and the judges and our system.
It's got to be. You must hear some of the saddest stories. We've worked with attorneys forever, and it seems like divorce attorneys really get all the garbage that is out there. There's so many. I mean, especially when there's children involved. And how do you guys do it? I mean, how do you stay sane with this? I mean, I know it's your job and everything, but
When I was in law school, one attorney, practicing family law attorney, said to me that if she was to get another degree, she would get a degree, graduate degree in psychology. And
Oh,
that's
yes.
exactly what I got.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Smart.
I
Very
have
smart.
2 degrees, and that really helps to understand the emotional pain and all the emotional factor that comes in with divorce, and that's definitely a very big part of it, because John and I have seen over and over again how people do not make rational decisions that make legal sense, but rather would act on the emotions. Even if we...
Well, it's very emotional when you get divorced.
Absolutely. It's actually, I think that I read a study that said that it was second most stressful experience anyone would ever go through in their entire life, first being death of the close family member. So it is a very difficult time in our client's life, and we definitely understand that. And
you invest a lot of money in. We're getting ready to go to break in tissues.
yes, Costco
Kleenex.
wholesale.
We're going to go to break, and we're going to be right back. And I want to delve into some other things, especially about husbands.
I'm sure you do.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
The law office of John Elias understands that choosing a family law attorney is a difficult decision. The outcome of your case will likely affect your family's future for years to come. You need to set your mind at ease and call attorney John Elias at 954-392-1501. Attorney John Elias will be open and honest with you about what to expect in your case and treat you with the respect and compassion you deserve. John Elias's practice has been devoted to family law in Florida for over 25 years. He will be there with you every step of the way. John Elias has offices in Pembroke Pines and Boca Raton. Whether you are thinking about filing for divorce or you are having trouble with child support, relocation, or adoption, you should contact attorney John Elias for any family law matter at 954-392-1501. That's 954-392-1501.
And we're back. Listen, if you have a question for John or Karina,
Or for us, too.
or for us, no, we're not. Just call us here at the station, 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. And I'm going to tell you something. We have them for month to month now. They'll be back next month.
I know, I love it.
And the next month, I know. So And if you want to watch today's
Well,
show,
and you know something, a divorce is so prevalent. It really is. So
I love
people,
it when you use
you
big
like
words.
big words,
Yes,
okay? As long as they're not four-letter words.
Exactly. So, and if you want to watch the show today, you can go to www.wwnnradio.com, and right there in the left-hand corner, it says WWN.
You see a picture of the TV, just click on there, and voila.
We're live right now.
We are. Okay, so can you explain what marital assets are?
Yes, marital assets, Renee, are assets that are acquired during the course of a marriage. Normally, anything acquired during the course of the intact marriage is considered marital. And
Has nothing to do with what you bring into the
Right, I was
marriage.
going to say, what happens if you have money before you get married?
okay, that's a very good question. If you use an example, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have $50,000 that I had before I married my wife. And I went ahead and put that into a joint asset. I lose what they call the non-marital component. It means it becomes a marital asset. It means that I gifted her half of my...
Unless you have a prenup, basically.
Unless I have a prenup.
Right.
Or unless I put in the deed or in a bank account saying this belongs solely to me as opposed to my wife. So unless you have a prenup or you have some language in your documents that states that that is non-marital, i.e. belongs to
Right.
both, that will be considered marital and 50-50. Another question I get a lot is when working fathers come in and will tell me, John, I'm the one that's worked all these years.
It doesn't matter,
She's
right?
been home all the time. I brought all the money. I bought the home.
And she took care of the kids and did everything in the house,
And
and,
she
he
didn't
doesn't
pay
want
for
to
it.
give her nothing.
And she didn't.
Right.
She didn't pay for anything. I say no. That's a marital asset.
Right.
Because while you worked, she stayed home and took care of the kids. and took
Because
care-
that's considered work if the
That's
woman's home
considered
taking
work.
care of children.
And it's as much work as what you're doing.
More. Thank you very
Hit a
much.
soft spot, Renee?
A little bit.
Yeah. So
And let me ask you another question. Can a husband get alimony?
yes, I have
Okay.
several
Yeah.
cases.
I'd have to kill him.
The concept of alimony is based on the respective needs and abilities of each party. It doesn't matter the gender. If
So if the woman's making more than the man, is that it? And they're living a high lifestyle, he would be entitled to alimony.
it depends on the length of the marriage, the incomes of the respective parties, and the lifestyle.
What do you mean by the length of the marriage? Is there a certain time frame that you
Oh,
have to
yes.
be married? Which is what?
Well, an example, from 1 to 7 years is considered a nominally short-term marriage, and there might be nominal alimony. From 7 to 15 years is considered a moderate-term marriage, which a party would be entitled, if appropriate, to durational alimony. Anything
So
else?
never stay married past 7 years. That's what
all
I've
you gotta
learned
do.
from this.
That's all you do.
Really? I mean, if you think about it.
And then you've got from 16 on, which is considered presumed permanent periodic. There's also other forms, durational, temporary, permanent periodic, and lump sum. So
Wow.
There's 4 different types.
Did you get that
You know
all?
what,
Did
I
you
gotta
get that
say
all?
this because we've worked with all different types of attorneys. There's attorneys who have shingles. You know, not this kind of shingles.
Okay.
The chicken pox
No,
shingles?
not those on their door, it says, we do personal injury, bankruptcy,
Right, they don't
family.
specialize
They have
in
a
any
whole
particular type of
area.
law.
Yes.
You have got to have someone like John and Karine that specialize
yes.
in this area.
Right. Family law and the other area of law is very specialized. You've got to know your law, you've got to know your judges, you've got to know your client. And I recommend that if you intend to go through a divorce or any family law matter, that you hire a qualified family law attorney.
Just tell everybody again where your offices are, because we're in Broward
give your
and
address.
Palm Beach.
Yes, I have 3 offices. I have one in Miami Lakes and at 8105 Northwest 154th Street off the Palmetto. My main office is in Pembroke Pines, 11200 Pines Boulevard, right across the mall. And then Karina and I work out of the Boca Raton office at 301 Yamato Road.
So you cover Broward and Palm Beach County, which is perfect. Give your website.
My website is www.johneliasfamilylaw.com. Again, www.johneliasfamilylaw.com.
And Karina, give yours as well.
www.attorneyinbocaraton.net.
That's
Isn't that
very
weird?
easy.
They both start with
Yeah.
www. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And you know what? Give us your phone numbers too, your office phone numbers.
Right. My office number, the main one is 954-392-1501.
office number is 561-756-9370.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Karina. Under what circumstances can you reduce your alimony payments, or it could be terminated, like once it's been established?
Once it's been established, you would have to file a petition once again to modify alimony, and circumstances that would make you eligible for that would be such as death of a spouse, if the spouse marries another person who has significant and substantial income to support him or her, or
So that goes both ways?
yes,
Okay, good.
absolutely, and that was a very important thing.
Another hot spot for Renee.
I have a lot of hot spots.
Yes, and also if there's some sort of cohabitation going on with the spouse who's receiving alimony, that might also be a factor that will make the spouse eligible for the reduction in alimony.
Now, I was told if you have somebody move in with you, that they could take the alimony away as well,
Yes,
not just getting married.
Yes, that's exactly what I was referring to a second ago. If you're just living with someone and receiving substantial alimony, that income coming in from a person you're just living with might be so significant, so substantial that it will be just fair to reduce the alimony you're receiving from an ex-wife or ex-husband.
Right, so you don't have to be married to have a reduction.
Correct.
You
Wow.
know, when I'm from Texas, and in Texas, when you have children, when your first child turns 18, it's reduced by 25%. When your second child turns 18, it's reduced by 20%, whereas it used to be you had to wait till the last, in my case, I had 3 children, had to wait till
You
the last...
did?
Oh,
I didn't know
tell you
that.
did I?
That's a surprise.
I know, well...
Where have you been keeping them?
we don't talk about Herman very much. But that's how it's handled in Texas. Now it's when the child now turns 18, it's reduced by a certain percentage.
Well, you
How
don't
is it
get
done
child support
How
here,
is it
right?
done in Florida? Let's say if you have 3 or 4 kids, of course they're all different ages.
Go ahead.
Well, what happens?
I mean, does it get reduced as
Yes,
they turn
yes,
18?
as each child is, the obligation for that particular child is ended, then the child support obligation for the remaining children or child or children reduces accordingly.
Okay.
And then they look at the incomes of the parties. Now in Florida, in the final judgments, it's put in the final judgment that when a certain child reaches a certain age as emancipated, i.e. child is terminated, the remaining support for the remaining children is X. And as each one turns 18, the court will specify in the final judgment.
And what happens if they continue on in school, like college? So that can be modified, or no?
No, there's no provision in the Florida statutes for support beyond 18 or 19 if they're still in high school. None for college. That can be agreed to in a marital settlement agreement or some sort of agreement that the parties will provide beyond high school, which is enforceable if you agree to it. But the court cannot force either party or either parent to pay for post-high school.
Well, how is child support? How do you come up with a number for child support?
The courts will look at the respective incomes of the parties, gross incomes, and then there's a chart that says if the parties have, an example, one child, and they have a combined income of $10,000, the child support obligation is X. Then they look at respective incomes. If one party makes,
Is it a combined income of both?
yes, and then what they look is at the respective percentages of the parties. If both parties earn about the same, then the figure is 50-50. If it's 70, the husband makes more, then his obligation is higher.
Right.
Then you look into the time sharing, and the more time sharing that the payer spouse has, the less you will pay in child support.
How do they determine visitation? I mean, because the kids are my most important thing. How do the courts determine your visitation rights?
Well, the court will look at the big picture, the big term that we all family law attorneys use as the best interest of the child.
That's the way it should be.
Yes, and that's what they look at. And with that in mind, they try to arrange for a most comfortable, convenient situation for children. So if one spouse works excessively, then the time sharing would go mainly to a spouse who doesn't work as much. Also, if kids go to school, then we're going to try to request, and judges will usually agree with us, to have kids in one place. Like if they've resided with mom all along and they go to school next to mom's house, that's where they're going to be Monday through Friday, and then weekends they'll be spending with dad.
Wow, that's a bummer. I'd want to see him every day still, somehow.
Well, if you get along with your ex-wife, then you can.
Oh, okay.
If you're nice and you get along with your ex-spouse, yes, you can.
Okay.
My kids are like 30. I still want them to go visit their father. They can have custody.
And let me follow up with that, Steve. In Florida, it's presumed that each parent has 50-50 time sharing.
Okay.
The word custody is no longer applicable in Florida.
Oh, it's not?
No. There's no longer the quote.
So it's not like the mother has custody
No.
anymore. So it's just split down the middle.
It's considered presumed that each parent should have equal time sharing, but it depends on the circumstance of each parent, what, their working hours,
Right.
their living accommodations.
I
that they
actually
have
think
for their
that's
children.
fair.
Yes. And if they're willing to spend quality time with their children.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when they fight about that by not wanting to see him. That would just kill me.
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to a divorce, things get ugly and they fight about everything.
No,
The children, you don't want to do
I've had
that.
circumstances where I've had fathers say, I don't want to see the child.
Wow.
Really?
That's
It's
amazing.
rare, but I've had that. And in that case, it will pay the full amount of child support.
Put him in timeout.
Wow.
Wow. There's
Put him
so
on an
many-
island.
Yeah, really. There's
Really.
so many things. This is you see how fast it goes by. It goes by really fast. We have so many things that we want to cover, which we're going to save for next month.
Yes.
I want to give you give your addresses again and phone
And phone numbers.
There should be.
301 Yamato Road, Suite 1240, Boca Raton, Florida, 33431. And my number is 561-756-9370. My website is www.attorneyinbocaraton.net. And here's John with his address.
And my website is www.johnnyeliasfamilylaw.com. My main office is in Pembroke Pines, 11200 Pines Boulevard, Suite 200, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33026.
Very easy to find.
Right.
Why do you charge $30 though for parking there?
It's got to make his money somewhere.
Parking is very easy. It was so easy to find.
Yes.
You got a great
It's free.
office.
He's
Yeah.
kidding.
And
It's free.
And I do have a satellite in Miami Lakes at 8105 Northwest 154th Street.
Well, this has been. God, this went by so
It
fast.
really did.
There
I have
are
so many
so-
questions.
I
I
know.
can't wait till next month.
I want to talk about adoption next time and prenups next time. And
Yes, I'd like to talk about prenups next time.
What do you look at me for?
I'm just saying.
You got prenups and you have post-ops.
Okay, I'll take both.
So this has been a fast 30 minutes. If you have a business, if you've got a law practice or you're a doctor or a home improvement, call us at 954-336-3767 if you'd like to come on our show. We're actually sold out on Fridays. We're now going to...
We're opening up Mondays now.
Yes.
Drive
So
time, 4 to 5.
give us a call, 954-336-3767. Thank you guys,
Thanks,
for,
guys,
coming
for coming
on
on.
today. You did a great job. This is the first time for you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
We'll see you next month.
Take care.
So let's go to break and we'll be right back.
Peace and love.
The law office of John Elias understands that choosing a family law attorney is a difficult decision. The outcome of your case will likely affect your family's future for years to come. You need to set your mind at ease and call attorney John Elias at 954-392-1501. Attorney John Elias will be open and honest with you about what to expect in your case and treat you with the respect and compassion you deserve. John Elias's practice has been devoted to family law in Florida for over 25 years. He will be there with you every step of the way. John Elias has offices in Pembroke Pines and Boca Raton. Whether you are thinking about filing for divorce or you are having trouble with child support, relocation, or adoption, you should contact attorney John Elias for any family law matter at 954-392-1501. That's 954-392-1501. Be sure to